This second episode of Peacemaker hits hard. Beneath all of the jokes and the chaos, it's a real story about grief, loneliness, and living with regret. So let's break it down. The show opens up with Economos walking flag around the new Argus office, and the first thing he wants to know is where the files are about his son. So the episode starts to tone right away. This is a story about grief. This is a story about revenge, especially from Flag's standpoint. So another antagonist has just entered the building against Peacemaker, which is going to be Flag, because he finds out that Peacemaker killed his son and he wants revenge. Then we get into the scene where Peacemaker has to clean up his mess with his doppelganger being dead. He ends up calling Vigilante for a favor, which we're going to get to that later for sure. Then we have this moment here where he is completely filled with sadness and regret. Peacemaker is somebody that's always wanting to do better, but can't. He can't outrun his past, which comes back later too. And when it comes to Peacemaker trying to do better, the worst thing he could possibly do is kill his doppelganger self. It kind of shows how no matter what universe he's in, his behavior just comes back to haunt him. And with all the isolation that Peacemaker feels, he can't even make a connection with himself, like with his doppelganger, but that's also a metaphor for himself. He can't have a relationship with himself. Now, this next part I'm about to show you is a subtle piece of foreshadowing that I love.
Hey, babies, yes!
So this episode is called A Man is Only as Good as His Bird. And we see how Peacemaker's a killer, and Eagly, in turn, is a killer. Autobio gets home and her dogs come up to her and they're loving and they're supportive, and that represents who Autobio is as a person. So their pets mirror who they are. I think that's pretty cool. And the foreshadowing comes in. Autobio gets home and her pets, they're lovey-dovey, right? But later on we see what Eagly does to that task force from Argus. But in this scene we see Autobio go home, have a fight with her girlfriend, and it seems they've split up because of Autobio's choice of job and it blowing up their life. So once again, that feeling of loneliness, of not being connected, is literally shown in every single character in this episode. But y'all, listen to this piece of dialogue real quick.
We were supposed to be going back to Gotham, Lee. And now what?
There are so many, and I mean so many Easter eggs just in these first two episodes about like Batman lore. And James Gunn didn't let anybody, even the early reviewers, watch episodes 6, 7, and 8. Because he said it was just too spoiler heavy. I don't think Batman is going to show up necessarily, but something involving Batman is going to pop up. I'm almost sure of it. And then she also says this line, which was just powerful.
People gotta follow their dreams, Key. Even you said that. Yeah, not when their dreams are leeching off of somebody else's reality.
That is going to be a cornerstone of this show. Once Peacemaker ends up going and cosplaying as himself in the other reality, his dreams are going to be leeching off of their reality. Autobio ends up leaving after having that fight, ending up lonely, and then we transition into Harcourt. I don't know if there's a better definition of being lonely and reserved and isolated than Harcourt in this episode. She's just completely shut down. And in this scene, she goes to a store. She's getting some groceries. And then this lady thinks that she's being abused, to which Harcourt says this.
So often, women deny what's happening.
I
is
am
for
not
the
a
men.
fucking mirror.
What?
I have my own problems, okay?
Okay.
All right? Is that okay with you?
That, once again, is going to come back in full effect when she ends up seeing her own doppelganger. She's saying she's not a mirror, but then she's going to have to come face to face with herself at some point, and that's going to be an interesting scene. It turns out that Harcourt may have been there to try and get a job, or she may have seen this when she was leaving and is thinking about becoming a cashier because she's broke. It's just kind of showing how far down she's fallen since the task force blew up. Then we are introduced to Flurry, who took over this episode, best character this episode, amazing introduction, and Economos spying on Peacemaker, Autobio, and Vigilante in this van. Economos in this episode really gets tested on his loyalty, really gets tested on who he's going to side with, Argus or his friends, and it seems like he's siding with his friends. He lets them know that they're surveilling them, and then also towards the end of the episode, we'll see that he's missing his friends. And then we find out about this really sad condition that Flurry has.
What's the deal with the parrot?
That's an eagle.
It's a bald eagle. It's the symbol of America. Are you telling me you don't recognize what kind of bird that is?
Okay, you obviously have not read my dossier. I have bird blindness.
I wasn't expecting the bird blindness joke to come full circle this episode. I thought it was going to be later. But yo, that Eagly scene was great. But right here, Adebayo tells Peacemaker that they're watching him and to not use the portal anymore, or they're going to use it as an excuse to send him back to jail. Not only that, this scene really shows that he truly cannot outrun his past.
In your bedroom?
My dad's bedroom.
Yours now?
Yeah, fucking mine now, whatever.
You're being monitored right now.
By who?
Rick Flag, Sr.
Does he know that I am?
Killed his son? Yep.
So he's not even able to call his own bedroom his. He still sees it as his dad's, right? Then his decision with what he did with Rick Flag Jr. coming back to bite him with Rick Flag Sr. So he just cannot escape his past. He is stuck in his regrets as well. If you're liking this recap, please go ahead and hit like and subscribe so more videos like this will show up on your feed. I make one every single week for Peacemaker. And if you're wanting to talk about Peacemaker more, go ahead and join the Discord, The Real Spot, where we talk about it all the time. Vigilante comes over and it leads to this hilarious scene where they're both talking about the party that Peacemaker had the night before, and Vigilante was upset that he didn't invite him. And it's because he wanted to bond with Peacemaker. It wasn't even because of the activities there. Peacemaker and Vigilante share the same exact quality of desperately wanting companionship. And you know, that's why Peacemaker ended up having that party. And Vigilante's just trying to find that companionship anywhere that he goes. Flurry gets a call where he's basically told to raid Peacemaker's house later that day, but they don't want Economos to know about it. And this turns into the iconic Eagly scene later. But before that, we get this scene where Vigilante and Peacemaker team up to chop up alternate reality Peacemaker's body into pieces and burn it up. And there is something so metaphorical in here. The act of Peacemaker chopping up his body into pieces, it just resembles how he's feeling internally. He feels all over the place in pieces, and also kind of doing that violence to himself is something he's always doing because of his own actions and how they come back to hurt him. And then there's just a little detail I want to point out here. This alien guy has shown up twice, and things typically happen in threes, so I think the next time he shows up, it's going to be of importance. Also, this scene was 100% giving Walter White and Jesse vibes. After he's done chopping up the body, he goes into his alternate ego's phone, sees some hardcore pictures, and then realizes how much that he wants to be with her. This is really the build up to the scene at the end when he drunk texts alternate reality hardcore. Finding the phone and looking through the pictures is the story device that builds up to that. While Task Force X is getting ready to have a party, Argus is also building up a party to go raid Peacemaker's house. Also, remember that line of "I'm not your mirror"? We got Hardcore looking directly in the mirror right now. And Hardcore is doing everything she can to hide her problems, hide how she got beat up. She's just hiding as a person. And then we get the iconic bird blindness scene. They were this close to finding that portal, but Eagly saved the day. And he gets the epic walk away. Then we get some pretty important conversations from the people on the roof. In this Economos and Adebayo conversation, she explains the group dynamic, and then they both want to know why Peacemaker and Hardcore are hanging out, right? They have a clue. And then she tells him that, you know, she's off doing her own thing as a business because he hates his job. This makes me wonder if he's going to go work for Adebayo. And then we get an extremely important conversation between Hardcore and Peacemaker, which is essentially why he ends up going into the other dimension and texting her there because of how this plays out. He essentially knows what's going on with her. He knows that she goes into a bar to fight. He knows that she's doing that. She doesn't want to admit it. She completely stonewalls him and walks away. Just like Peacemaker, she does not want to face herself, right? She does not want to look in the mirror. And just like Peacemaker was forced to see himself literally with the alternate dimension, I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen to Hardcore as well. And so after that conversation, he drunkenly stumbles over into the other dimension, texting Hardcore. And we're left with this image here where there's the two doorways that resemble the two paths, the two dimensions. and he's deciding to walk through both of them. Both doors are open. And the question is, will he even be able to find connection in the alternate dimension? If you liked this video, please go ahead and like and subscribe so more videos like it will show up on your feed. I make one every single week for Peacemaker. And if you'd like to have a deeper discussion about Peacemaker, go ahead and join our Discord, The Real Spot. We're in there talking about it all the time. Until next time, I'll see y'all.